All right. Good morning, Facebook. Y'all are getting slower and slower. Here comes Facebook like a glacier or a herd of turtles, whichever one. Good morning. Good morning. Good to be with you this morning. We are in Joshua chapter 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to talk to you about the power of neither. We're going to take this a chapter at a time. The first chapter, which will be chapter 3 this morning, is the record of Joshua making his first big move as the new leader. And he orders the priest to prepare to go across Jordan. And in the manner that they do it is they take up the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulders, as has been defined for them by Moses. The interesting thing is we talked a week or so ago about your tread and the tread of your feet, and how important that is when you're lined up mentally. In other words, you're walking intentionally. You're not meandering. You're not wandering. You're not shuffling. When you are treading, you are moving with purpose. And there was obvious purpose in what is described in chapter 3 with regard to the priest. They were to go first. They were to carry the box, the ark, on their shoulders. And so this would be the tread of a priest. Now, you might at first think that has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with you. Because when Jesus came, Revelations declares in the first chapter, verse 6, that the coming of Jesus was to make us be kings and priests unto God. The significance of that is that obviously as a king, you rule, you have authority. As a priest, you have divine connection. And so in this story, it was the priests that were ordered to go first by Joshua, and he indicated as soon as their feet touched the water that there would be a result, a positive one for all the Israelites, all the followers. And of course, according to the story, when the priest, as soon as their feet touched the waters, the Jordan River, this was the season of harvest, again, according to the story, which means that the Jordan was the widest it ever was during the year. So this would be the worst time to try to cross the Jordan River, seasonally. And this is kind of the way God is based on the Jewish story of God. In other words, God always stacks the deck as tall as possible before a remedy is brought in. You may find this in your own life. It's like, that's why people write songs and poems and talk about that God is never early, but he's always on time. In other words, there's no point in gearing up. God is not like a Chevy engine that you rev up at the start line and get everybody singing, "Oh my God, that car's fast," because the engine is so loud. The motor is revving up. The RPMs sound like they're about to blow the engine out of its compartment. That's not the way God does it. That's the way things happen in this realm, in the this and that realm. But in the God realm, there's no point in wasting any energy. In other words, when it's time, that's when divine mind moves. That's when divinity powers the thing up. As soon as their feet touched the waters of the Jordan, at its most critical time, the story is that the water stacked up upstream and dried up downstream. And the priest stood in the middle of the Jordan, and the people passed over. The tread of a priest is a powerful thing. Why did this work? Because Joshua said, this is all what I believe to be for us. This is a metaphor that when you understand your connection, when you understand who you are, when you believe that you were created in the image of God, and through human conditioning, you may have forgotten that, you may not be aware of that. The gospel has been preached to you. You are now aware. The moment you felt a tremendous change in your life, regardless of the manner that you experienced the change, whether you were walking down an aisle, were you kneeling at an altar, were you in a brush arbor outside, where you were driving in your car and you had an epiphany, regardless of how it came to you, the moment that you discovered, I am a child of God. This was the purpose of Jesus coming, was to make the world aware of who each of us really, truly are. To lift us above, I'm a preacher, I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a carpenter, I'm a nurse, I'm a mechanic, etc., ad infinitum. Jesus came to lift us above that kind of identity, so that regardless of what your trade might be, you understand on the inside, I am a king, I have authority, and I am a priest. I have connection. I am connected to the divine because I have divine DNA. I am a son of God. I am a daughter of God. I am a child of God. When you start walking with that understanding, you're walking in the same way that metaphorically these priests walked carrying the box. You see, they knew what was in the box. They knew that there were 10 commandments straight from God in that box. They knew that there was a pot of manna in that box that represented a daily miracle in their life. Every day, this happened for 40 years. And they knew that there was a rod that was cut off dead on both ends, but life in the middle. And that was in the box. And knowing this, carrying the box, you see, when you know what's in your box and you take a step, then you take a step that's powerful, because how many times have you heard that knowledge is power? I cannot say this enough. The more you understand who and what you really are, the more your life experience changes.